How's it going, everybody? So, it's been a very long time since I've made a video. It's been at least 2 months, and in this video, I'm going to talk about a couple of updates, maybe some things that are on my mind, but more specifically, I want to talk about my current herb routine and my current overall philosophy and outlook on nutrition and health. And more specifically, just holistic health as a holistic practice, and focusing in on the things that actually matter so that not only can you feel your best and have unlimited energy, but also completely resolve autoimmune disease, resolve metabolic disease, and get to a healthy weight and body fat percentage. And also prevent things like heart disease, cancer, and diabetes in the future. And if you run into things like skin issues, eczema, or digestive issues like IBS, guys, y'all got to remember, when I first started my health journey, I had extreme anxiety and mental issues. I had psoriasis that was terribly bad on my skin, and I also had very severe irritable bowel syndrome, and basically borderline Crohn's at a certain point. And I managed to fix all of those problems by obsessively and desperately researching nutrition, health, herbs, and also obviously psychology and things for the anxiety. And I tried, everything there is. I tried all sorts of herbs and cleanses and vitamin supplements, probiotics, prebiotics, enzymes, amino acids, I tried every diet there is, all different forms of vegetarian, vegan, and plant-based, Chinese medicine, nutrition. I also did the paleo diet. I did carnivore, keto. I tried the repeat diet for a while, and I know, whatever, they say it's not a diet, whatever. Point is, though, I've been through hell and back to get to where I am at this current place in my career or in my life or in my health journey. And so I want to share with everybody what actually matters, okay? And so that's what I'm going to try to discuss here today. And I have an outline right now. Y'all know that like 99% of my fucking videos and content, I never have an outline. I just turn on the camera and spit because I have like an encyclopedia of knowledge in my brain that I can access at any time. However, I could literally just lecture for hours and hours and not run out of things to talk about. And just look at my lives in the live section of my YouTube if you need an example. Anyway, that is exactly why I have an outline here today, because I have tried to make a video like this at least 7 times in the last 2 months, and every single time I just start ranting about other humans and how their obsessive search for health information is actually what is making them unhealthy, and actually what's preventing them from becoming healthy and then also just living their life and feeling happy and fulfilled. And the ultimate goal of any health practice or health journey should be to solve your health problems, solve your energy and whatever you want to improve, so that you can get on with your fucking life. But everybody makes this like a form of entertainment and a hobby in and of itself, and it far surpasses its usefulness. And just credit to Brandon Gilbert from Hyperion Herbs, who originally made me aware of this phenomena, this addiction to constant improvement and addiction to health information that literally takes us farther away from what we actually want, which is purpose in life, fulfillment, and just peace. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so we will talk about that in this video when we talk about value systems and how to obtain fulfillment in your life. That's a key part of what actually makes people healthy. So we will be getting into that, okay? So let's kind of just go down my my outline and let's talk about this. So, my current tonic herb routine. Okay, so and we're gonna be talking about nutrition. We're gonna be talking a little bit about exercise, but more so focusing on nutrition science, autoimmune disease, metabolic health, but more so just health in general and what actually will make you feel healthy. Okay, things that we haven't talked about before is what I want to get across. Okay, anyway, so let's start off with my current herb routine. Okay. So, as many of y'all know, back in 2019, when I really figured out the perfect diet and nutrition style for me, and then I figured out how to apply that to pretty much all humans, you know what I'm saying, at a baseline, a template. After that, it was all about finding tonic herbs and adaptogens to make that even better and get the type of energy and mood and sleep and those. It's the icing on the cake. Okay, once you follow my nutrition principles, and then of course you customize the carbohydrate intake and the plant intake and stuff like that to your own needs. The tonic herbs become a very powerful ally and your ability to navigate life effectively, and in some way can be transformative of all aspects of your life in and of themselves. Okay, so most people, when they think of tonic herbs, they may not recognize that word, but it's similar to adaptogen. It's just that they're a different class of herbs and a different philosophy and approach to how you take them, because the word adaptogen is a westernized term that isn't actually the reality behind how these herbs even work in the body. Anyway, so my current herb routine, very, very similar to the same herb routine I've been taking for almost an entire year now. Okay. So at a baseline, I brew coffee. And lately it's been 8 cups of hot brewed coffee. So it's up to the eight cup mark. For those of you who aren't familiar with accurate gauging of caffeine intake, understand that you cannot measure the amount of caffeine you're ingesting by liquid ounces. So people who think, oh, I'm drinking 8 cups of brewed coffee a day, therefore I'm getting this number of caffeine, that's absolute stupidity. Okay, no offense. I don't know how the fuck people are able to just freely make absolutist claims about caffeine intake and caffeine dosages based on ounces of coffee consumed. Okay, how much caffeine is in each cup of coffee is going to entirely depend on the type of coffee bean, the freaking the type of grind, like how thinly it's ground, how finely it's ground, the roasting process, how old that bean is, and then obviously the amount of that ground coffee that you pour into the coffee maker, and the list goes on. Okay, so I'm just going to say that first because that pisses me off, and I want people to know that. Okay. Because it is so irritating trying to find out how much fucking caffeine is in my damn coffee when no one measures it by the tablespoon of grind and this and that, okay? Especially because motherfuckers in the comments will tell me that I'm drinking too much caffeine, and anyway, that's why I have a whole fucking hour-long lecture talking about caffeine intake, how to optimize caffeine, is caffeine healthy or not, and all the common questions. I have a playlist and it should be on there. If y'all want to know more about that and you want to hear me break down the actual science of caffeine and its health benefits and consequences and all this other crap, comment, please fucking comment down below. Do not hesitate to comment. Okay, all that's going to happen is your life will get better if you actually say what the fuck's on your mind. Thank you very much, okay? This is why I have an outline, because I'll just go on ranting about all the shit that's been on my mind that I've been wanting to make a video for a long time, and I try to get all this shit out in one video. Fuck that. All right, back to my outline, y'all. Yeah, so start off with 8 cups of coffee, sometimes 10, just depends on how much time I have and all this other shit, right? The point is that we need a large amount of brewed hot liquid for enough surface area to blend the herbs with in the blender, okay? And then I pour the hot brewed coffee into my blender. And it's like a, I don't know, 24-ounce blender. It's a pretty big blender. And I fill it up 3/4 of the way full. Because these herbs are, a lot of them in their raw form, some of them in powdered extracts. The raw herb, you are generally need to fucking brew it over a long period of time in order to, and slowly simmer it over hours in order to extract the saponins and beneficial compounds. But I have found that these herbs can actually extract their beneficial alkaloids and compounds just fine if you use hot enough liquid and you blend it with enough liquid and you blend it long enough, okay? So I've had clients who I try to explain this to, and these motherfuckers, I swear, man, they'll pour out like 8 ounces of coffee into a coffee cup, and then they'll take a couple teaspoons of the powdered herb and try to freaking stir it with a spoon. And then they tell me they feel it when there's all this sediment at the bottom that they throw away. I'm like, dude, why the fuck are you wasting your money and not doing the shit I tell you to do? Anyway, eventually after a couple of weeks, they eventually listen to me, and then when they finally do, they're like, oh my God, I feel way better. It's like, yeah, because you did what the fuck I told you to do. Thank you. All right. Anyway, Jesus Christ. The details matter with herbs. Let's get to it. Look, I am taking approximately 2 teaspoons, not tablespoons, teaspoons, okay? Again, this matters a lot, okay? 2 teaspoons of American ginseng. It's the powdered, raw root powder, American ginseng. I've tried all sorts of extracts of American ginseng. Most of them are absolute shit. If you want, so the energy and especially the dopamine boost. So I feel a calming improvement in my focus and my inspiration for life and my interest in life, sort of like a calming dopamine boost, not like jittery at all. It's not even an energy boost. It's like an improvement in my neurotransmitters, really, as well as feeling more horny. That's what American ginseng, I find, will do, and it seems to ground and stabilize everything else. So 2 teaspoons of raw American ginseng powder. I get it from a small family farm, and their organization is known as Wisconsin, or Dairyland LLC out of Wisconsin, okay? They have all sorts of very good ginseng products. I recommend either the raw powder, the ginseng slices, or the actual roots, okay? I've tried all sorts of brands. A lot of them are just absolute dog shit, and they are not real. They're not legit products. The amount of extracts of ginseng that I have found on fucking Amazon with clearly fake reviews, because when I try the product, I don't feel shit other than nauseous or like I have to pee all the time. It's just insane how many fake ginseng products are on the market. This is one of the reasons I'm making videos. I don't give a fuck. I will rant because it needs to be fucking said, okay? One of the top selling and top reviewed Korean ginseng products on the market. I'm not going to say the brand, but it comes in like a black tar. I took like 4 to 5 times the amount several days in a row. Only felt nauseous, didn't really feel anything from it. I had taken like half a bottle at a point because I was convinced it was fake. Didn't do shit but make me feel nauseous as hell. And so this is a problem. This is why we need people like me on the internet, so that I can prevent y'all from buying bullshit. The problem is people still are cheap as fuck. They don't care about details. They don't care about legit products. And they'll buy whatever they can find at the GNC or Walmart on discount. And this sucks because that makes herbs look bad. Of course, then it allows people like hopefully you and me to actually give a damn and buy the shit that actually works. And saves more for us, I guess, right? But this is one of the things that have been bothering me for like the past couple months, and one of the reasons why I haven't made videos as much is because the absolute level of stupidity in the average consciousness has been absolutely driving me insane, and I'm letting it bother me. It's my fault, because those of you who know me and have followed me for a while, y'all know that I am a fan of, obviously what you think about, you bring about, and stuff like that. But this just is just, it's hard for me to ignore, and it pisses me off. I don't know why, but it bothers me. Anyway, it's just crazy. I don't know how the fuck people can be that unconscious. All right, so back to the video. Oh Lord. Yes, American Ginseng, Dairyland LLC, 2 teaspoons, and then I also have been taking Panax Red Ginseng. Okay, Panax Red Ginseng by Wisconsin LLC. 1 to 2 teaspoons a day, brewed in the same beverage. Okay. I think 1 teaspoon is around the sweet spot, but when you first start taking it, it'll be overwhelmingly powerful. And I've talked at length in many other videos explaining my first experience with these ginseng products and how I was just sweating my ass off with my brain just going way too fast. And obviously, like I mentioned before, have 149 IQ, which is the top 0.1% of all humanity. So as it is, I already have way too much mental energy as it is. So it was overwhelming sitting there in my goddamn history class, sweating my ass off and my brain just going all over the place while my professor so innocently and awesomely, he was a great professor, talking about, American history and stuff. I couldn't focus. I was like, my brain's going all over the place. So, and that was at 1/4 of a teaspoon at that time. I think I had actually taken a whole teaspoon the first day. It was terrible. And then I slowly went back to 1/4 of a teaspoon. But when I took a whole teaspoon, that was what it was. It destroyed it was just crazy. My brain felt like it was dying. It was exploding or something. It was crazy. Anyway, it was overheating. Too much freaking power for the hardware. Okay. Overclocked my hardware. Anyway, so now around 1 to 2 teaspoons of the raw powder Panax Red Ginseng. That's that ingredient. And I've been doing the American and the Red Panax together since the very end of April 2023. So that was last year. So it's almost an entire year. It's going to be an entire year here in 2 months. It's pretty amazing. So 10 months straight. So then I also take half a teaspoon of Hyperion Herbs Cordyceps and half a teaspoon of Hyperion Herbs Mucuna. And so and the past month, maybe 2 months, give or take, the past 6 weeks, I've also been taking Eleuthero, also known as Siberian ginseng. It's not a ginseng. Yes, we all know that, hopefully. It is a ginseng-like product that was popularized mostly by Soviet scientists as the first adaptogen, is really where it came from. For more information, I'll make another video about it, but there's a book called Adaptogens by Dr. David Winston that talks a bit about it and all the other adaptogenic herbs and things as well. So the Siberian ginseng, or the Eleuthero, as you want to call it, I have recently added, and has been the most significant change to my program. As of recently, there's a more powerful thing I added that I think is even more important that I'll talk about in a bit. So half a teaspoon of Hyperion Herbs Cordyceps, half a teaspoon to a whole teaspoon of Eleuthero, the raw powder, and the Eleuthero will not dissolve completely unless you use a lot of liquid and it's very hot and you blend it long enough. So be aware with Eleuthero. What I do is I'll start with the Eleuthero and I'll pour a half teaspoon to a teaspoon of the Eleuthero powder into the hot liquid, and I make sure there's a lot of hot liquid, and I'll blend that first. I'll blend it, on the highest setting for about maybe 20 seconds just to start, and then I'll add the American ginseng and the Red Panax ginseng powder to it, and I'll blend that as a whole for around 90 to 120 seconds. I try to blend as long as possible. A lot of people, again, I'm not going to get it back into this, but they just don't blend it long enough. They don't put enough liquid, and it's just, they don't even blend it, some of them, and it's just irritating. when I tell them over and over again, blend it and blend it properly. All right. You're not like, no, you think you feel it. That's a placebo. Okay. If it has not dissolved in the coffee, you have not blended it enough. Okay. So cannot stress that enough, y'all. All right. The cordyceps, everyone knows I've been taking the Hyperion Herbs cordyceps since like 2020. That's about 4 years now, and it's absolutely amazing. I have whole videos on that. And I've actually found that less cordyceps is better. I was taking 1 whole teaspoon to 2 teaspoons a day at one point, but I found that it seemed to have just calmed me down actually at a certain point. But half a teaspoon seems to be the right dose, and it has some very profound benefits on dopamine and antidepressant effects, as well as obviously improving the recycling of ATP in highly glycolytic activities such as wrestling and jiu-jitsu and sprinting and high-intensity resistance training. So on top of this, I've also added Korean red ginseng extract from Solgar. The only brand of ginseng extract I found so far to have consistently accurate results and benefits has been the Panax ginseng from Solgar. And I see a lot of credible anecdotes of other people feeling the same. And I have had clients who have also started taking it and have told me all the same thing. In fact, this herb stack that I'm talking about here, minus a couple of things, have been things that some of my clients who have asked me about it have also taken and found very similar, reliable benefits to myself. So I know that these things are not placebo. They are things other people feel as well. And it's echoed by the tiny amount of scientific studies we have on these things, as well as historical reports and claims about the benefits of these herbs as well. So it's very important that we're not just relying on scientific evidence, especially mechanistic data or the intervention trials that are only done on a sample size of 4 people or something. You know what I mean? But we need to combine all the historical evidence, anecdotes, people that we know, and authorities and people like myself too who review these things, so we can really understand what's going on. And I'm not going to get into, but like mechanistic studies, mechanistic jargon, trying to explain what these herbs do in the body. Studies done on isolated lung cells and stuff. It just absolute absurdity. I would say that it's good to look at those things after your own experiences to try to explain maybe why these things are working, or what are they working on, how are they exerting these effects. But a lot of people put way too much stock in mechanistic studies and as their primary source of guiding themselves through the nootropics and things. Focusing on mechanisms, as someone who's been studying these things obsessively since 2012, I can assure you is not the way to go. Anyway, if you want more about that, let me know in the comments and I'll make that in the future. Okay, so one thing I've added to my herb routine that has absolutely changed the game is Reishi again. Okay, so I take a half a teaspoon of Hyperion Herbs Reishi before bed. And on days where I just feel overstimulated and potentially underslept or what have you, I'll take a half a teaspoon as soon as I wake up. And oftentimes will fall asleep for several hours after that, which is fine. What I'll say the Reishi's been doing, so I've made videos about this and gone back and forth with it for a long time. Number one, people who assume that Reishi mushroom is anti-androgenic and all this stuff, stupid, absolute stupidity. Again, this goes back to mechanistic studies not being reliable. I'm not going to get too much into that. But what I will say is 2 things I've noticed with the Reishi. So the first thing is strength gains seem to come better when I'm taking Reishi. Probably, and there are studies that actually show Reishi and cordyceps taken in high doses at the rate and elite endurance athletes actually show an improvement in the testosterone cortisol ratio to a significant degree. Sample size over 12 athletes done for approximately 16 weeks in the middle of a very hard competitive training cycle. Pretty important, pretty awesome stuff if you ask me. Reishi feels like it is giving you a hug around your heart. It feels like you're getting a comforting hug around your soul, and I like that. Reishi obviously helps you sleep, but the biggest benefit I've noticed is I have a lot. So when I have a lot of thoughts going on in my head, oftentimes I feel overwhelmed because I have a lot of things going on in my life. And anytime I have free time, I can't decide what the best use of my time is. So I end up just like switching back and forth maniacally through a multitude of different tasks. And sometimes just don't do anything at all because I'm paralyzed by all the different things that I could be doing with my time. I just don't do jack shit. And something that Rishi's helped me do is I might have a lot of bad thoughts or negative thoughts or uncomfortable thoughts in my mind. And normally they just all be there all the time and I can't sort them out. Now with Reishi, the negative thoughts are there, but Reishi allows me the clarity of thought to be able to see those thoughts in a less detached fashion and more effectively and peacefully deal with the things that are bothering me. To a lot of people, this might be alarming because when I first started taking Reishi, I was going, and I mean really taking Reishi, I was actually getting over a breakup with a girl that I was with for 5 years, and as far as I'm concerned, I was very much in love with her. And with the Reishi, I noticed I was crying more frequently. I was more depressed, and I was training clients as a personal trainer. And in the middle of some of my sessions at the time, luckily I had a mask on because of the virus that was going around. You know what I'm talking about. I had the mask on. People couldn't see I was crying, so I did my best to, so people couldn't tell. But yeah, it was interesting how Reishi was like, hey, this is a problem and you need to deal with it type of thing, right? Other times in my life when I took Reishi, when I had gotten certified in my nutrition and then I started training MMA athletes, and then I decided I was going to compete in jiu-jitsu in a serious fashion at the time. And then most recently, I was like, hey, I'm going to completely transform my training business and double my current, client load. So anyway, Reishi allows you to see the negativity and the crazy things, see your thoughts for what they are, and then productively deal with them and move on, right? And generally after about 2 weeks or so of me taking Reishi consistently, I see just amazing changes. And it's almost like Reishi is a soul ally, as crazy as it sounds, that makes everything in your life just start to work out all of a sudden. And I think that's echoed by all of the people who have taken it, especially the ancient kind of testimonials about it, right? The herb of spiritual potency, the great protector, the supreme, whatever. So anyway, that's what I'll say. I do like Reishi a lot, and it just depends on you and can you handle the heat, okay? So now I have other things I want to talk about here. So I'll kind of just try to get through them pretty fast. I have chicken and that's cooking right now and like about 4 pounds of chicken. I don't want to burn it. I have 15 minutes left. So let me make this quick. If y'all want me to touch on any of this in more detail, post in the comments. So essentially, the tonic herbs at a baseline. So you have your baseline level of nutrition. And your baseline level of nutrition is going to take care of metabolic illness. If you have diabetes or you're obese or excess body fat, your basic nutrition program is going to take care of that if it's proper, if it's based on my own principles. And then autoimmune illness has to do with individual food tolerances. And then from there, once you have the baseline nutrition that solves metabolic illnesses, it gives your body what it needs to produce neurotransmitters, immune enzymes and things, immune molecules like glutathione. And you remove the food intolerances like certain plants and stuff, like I talked about with my own illness I had to reverse. Then tonic herbs are that extra piece on the cake where, so tonic herbs at a baseline, they can provide hormetic stressors to your body. So hormesis, right? You hear a lot of people talk about sauna and cold therapies, basically upgrading your body's endogenous antioxidant system, glutathione, superoxide dismutase, etc. And basically what hormetic stressors do is they stress the body at a tiny level in a way that makes your body even stronger and be able to tolerate more hormetic stress in the future. So if you if you think about it, an example would be going to the gym and exercising your muscles. When you put your muscles under a certain amount of stress, they adapt and get stronger so that they can handle more in the future. So when it comes to nutrition, you'll hear people that I consider quacks to a certain degree. They have quack type beliefs, right? Which is I don't even like the term quack, but I'll use it anyway. So Rhonda Patrick talking about broccoli sprouts, right? And the gluforaphanos and endyl-3 carbinol and the other compounds that broccoli and brassica type vegetables can contain can help your body metabolize estrogens and also act on the NRF2 pathways, which are supposed to boost your glutathione and antioxidant system, essentially upgrading your body's defense mechanisms, right? I don't really believe that eating a pound of broccoli or eating spinach or any of that is really going to do that. And what's probably going to happen is you're going to fart a lot and get bloated and blow up your damn intestines. That was what I found in my experience. There is a more efficient way of doing this. You don't need to eat a bunch of broccoli and broccoli sprouts. You don't need to buy all these athletic green supplements and stupid shit like that. Here's what I found after, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I've spent thousands of fucking dollars per month on this nonsense only to find none of it fucking mattered. What really matters is for hormetic stressors, you want targeted tonic herbs, right? It's what they call adaptogens. So things like reishi mushroom, if you need to calm down a bit. American ginseng, if you want that calming yet stimulating dopamine and libido property. Pan-extra ginseng, if you want more stimulating kind of energy, but also more focus and increasing your work capacity, athletic performance, and all this other stuff that I've talked about pan-extra ginseng doing. Rhodiola as an improvement in work capacity, focus, improving ADHD symptoms and stuff like that. These are just examples, right? And there's a lot of different adaptogenic herbs or tonic herbs that are much more economical, especially from a digestion standpoint, where you don't need to like obsessively buy a ton of different vegetables and fruits and stuff to get these hormetic, the polyphenols, what we're talking about. You don't need to do all that when you take tonic herbs that match your goals, okay? I think the idea that you need to eat a ton of polyphenols to get healthy and boost your longevity, I think that's misguided. I don't think there's any clinical, any human trials that are worth a damn that show a high enough magnitude of effect to back that idea. I've talked at length about blueberry polyphenol trials and how mainstream nutrition people, they will salivate at the mouth over human intervention trials that hardly show any true effects, and they'll blow the study conclusions out of proportion, where it's like a 0.1% improvement over the placebo group. And it's like, that is literally meaningless to like actual practical real world effects. Yet people will buy hundreds of dollars worth of these damn polyphenol supplements, and then they will literally spend their whole paycheck on power greens and green smoothies and freaking superfoods and like brown rice and all this other shit, and only to suffer digestive illness, less money. And 9 times out of 10, when you ask them, so you feel like you're benefiting, they'll be like, oh yeah, definitely, because they're removing junk and it may be placebo, healthy user bias, right, or whatever, and they feel like they're doing a good thing. But a lot of times they're like, I don't really know. Kind of. I think it's doing something. I don't really feel it, but I know over the long term I'll definitely live longer. It's like, if you don't actually feel a significant improvement in your vitality, health, and energy within a week of doing something, 9 times out of 10, it's actually not doing what you think it fucking is, okay? And that was hard for me to actually fathom and accept. And it took me years until I realized the healthy diet full of full of greens and plants and polyphenols and shit was literally killing me. Literally contributing to my bloating, gas, constant shitting, okay? Literally made me feel like absolute death. And I didn't know what health was, and most people, I don't think, know what health feels like because they haven't done the things I'm talking about. And they're scared to do it because they're brainwashed into thinking that polyphenols matter, fiber matters, being scared that they're going to have a vitamin C deficiency or all sorts of deficiencies if they don't eat all these plant foods and shit, right? So anyway, I don't want to rant too much, but literally none of that crap matters. Just get enough animal protein in your diet and tonic herbs. And then whatever carbs you feel like, if you're not on a keto diet, and that's fine. Keto is not magic. Carbs are not poisonous, and plants are not poisonous either. If you feel like you need more plants for variety, just make sure that whatever plants you are eating are not triggering autoimmune symptoms or gas and bloating. And if you feel like eating meat hurts your digestion, you probably have a problem with your digestion and should address it. Usually low stomach acid, and especially if you have GERD or you have indigestion or acid reflux. That's 9 times out of 10, that means you need to acidify the stomach and not the opposite, not antacids. So, anyway, building robust immunity, not just through environmental stressors and working out and stuff, but through tonic herbs that are targeted towards what you want. I'll make a dedicated video to that in the future. Metabolic factors for chronic disease. So if you're concerned with cancer, diabetes, heart disease, you literally cannot get diabetes or some of these other things, even if they look like they're hereditary or run in your family, as long as you do not trigger the epigenetic factors that contribute to it. So these are things like in diabetes, as long as your fasting insulin, your blood sugar, and your hemoglobin A1C, which is technically blood sugar average, as long as your glycemic load over the course of the day is in a healthy level, there's no fucking way you're going to just randomly develop diabetes. So basically, if you're consuming very moderate amounts of carbohydrates that are specific to your energy demands throughout the day, like if you're training all the time and even you eat a little bit of honey or sugar, like refined sugar, you're probably going to be fine as long as it doesn't exceed crazy amounts and you're not eating a ton of other carbs in your diet, right? Now, if you're slamming 300 grams of net carbs a day from like white rice and sugar and honey and even fruit, and maybe you're not training and exercising that much, that's a different story. You don't know at that point. But all I'm saying is, like, if you're scared of heart disease, cancer, or diabetes, okay, the number one most important thing that you can worry about is the glycemic load of your diet and then the other factors that might contribute to that specific condition. So in regards to heart disease, I personally am not convinced that anybody knows exactly what is the true trigger for heart disease as far as dietary and lifestyle factors, okay? I think the LDL slash cholesterol, it's not actually cholesterol, the LDL kind of concept behind what causes heart disease, I think is very premature, and it's based on flawed evidence. And I'm not saying it's bad evidence, but I'm saying that there's too many caveats and nuances to discuss in the research that people typically cite. The idea is that LDL over the course of the lifespan contributes to heart disease, and that is reflected by studies on statin drugs that artificially lower LDL, as well as hereditary genetic diseases that either increase LDL or decrease LDL, okay? I've done videos on this. Most people, they just are either, LDL is bad, or, LDL is not a problem, and they don't even know what the fuck the studies are about. They don't even know why it should be scrutinized. They just either believe one thing or don't. They're like, we've been eating meat forever, so there's no way it could be bad. And I just, even though I don't disagree, I just think that that's still an uneducated, dive into it. It's too shallow of an understanding of what's going on. But anyway, I don't think the LDL is something you should worry about personally. But if you needed to keep your LDL low, you could still eat a meat-based diet. Just limit the saturated fat. You know what I'm saying? Like, eat lean chicken or something, right? Anyway, polyunsaturated fats, everyone. So I will say I think a lower fat intake overall, whether it's saturated or polyunsaturated, it's only going to make you a leaner individual. I don't think that eating more saturated fat is going to benefit anyone, but I don't think it's going to harm anyone either. But there's people that think butter's magic and shit like that, and I just don't think that's the case. Like I had someone tell me that they heard that butter's a superfood and all this crap. I'm like, bro, eating more fucking butter when your goal is fat loss and improved metabolic markers, it just doesn't make any sense. Anyway, and yeah, vitamin K2, vitamin D3, maybe those are the only vitamin deficiencies you should really even care about, provided you're eating enough meat. That's aside. I'm getting off topic, and I don't have enough time to really finish all the topics I was talking about discussing, but let me just say that, if you're eating mostly meat as a baseline, right? I think that the vast majority of humans, when I can tell you, first of all, studies indicate most humans who are eating the RDA of protein are actually undereating, and their body is wanting more protein for basic daily functions. Typically, when people eat very high protein, I'm talking a minimum of 1 gram per pound of lean mass per day, especially from whole animal foods, they tend to feel a lot better. There's a lot of anecdotes on the internet, obviously from the carnivore people, always talking about how when they switch over to a mostly meat diet, they feel better. And I think that removing a lot of food intolerances, as well as moving a lot of junk food, obviously losing weight as a side effect, but also just the fact that you're eating at minimum double the protein you're eating before, you're giving your body the amino acids that it needs to produce neurotransmitters. And the protein research typically, they don't account for protein synthesized as neurotransmitters or collagen as well in the connective tissues. In fact, I don't think you can even measure amino acids from protein intakes improving neurotransmitter health outside of subjective mood tests and things like that. So mood questionnaires and stuff. So yeah, the protein recommendations, even for bodybuilding and athletes, it does not account for neurotransmitters and stuff. Something that I find consistently with myself is even if I'm eating 1 gram per pound of total body weight, let alone lean mass or ideal body weight, which for me is around 200 grams on average, I feel better than when I eat less, but when I eat 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight, I feel tremendously better. My sleep becomes amazing, my mood improves, my strength gains are almost effortless all of a sudden, and most importantly, my desire to train more increases. Anytime that I'm under eating protein, or even getting the 1 gram per pound of lean mass recommendation, I feel groggy, tired, weak, and it's just interesting how that works. So, yeah, that's something people need to consider, and I want to make a dedicated video on that when I have time. Yeah, and people are so resistant to eating enough protein, it's crazy. I very commonly find people who have really bad anxiety, they feel overwhelmed in their life, they have trouble sleeping, and they have this attitude that their whole life is just trying to fuck them in the ass, basically, right? Pessimistic anxiety and anger. 9 times out of 10, one of the biggest issues they have in their entire lifestyle is eating enough in general, but especially eating enough protein. When you're in a caloric deficit, you're definitely not getting the nutrients your body needs, even if it's especially if it's plant-based. Not getting the calories your body needs to maintain proper hormones. Remember, when you're under eating calories for a while, your body will downregulate its thyroid hormone, which will make you feel like shit, and you have less energy available to expend, essentially. Adaptive thermogenesis is what it's called. And if you're not eating enough protein, your body will be in a net state of catabolism. And your body will not be producing the neurotransmitters that you need to feel happy, healthy, and whatnot. Remember, high-protein diets are associated pretty commonly with higher dopamine and more so just overall more motivation in general. So, yeah. I can tell you the number one most important thing besides removing beans, nuts, grains, and seeds and legumes from my diet that I've ever done was eating at least 2 pounds of meat a day. I've been talking about this forever. I don't think that plants are poisonous, and I don't think that the carnivore diet or meat is magic or any of that. What I do, and I don't think carbs are bad either. What I do think is a foundational part of feeling very healthy and good is eating enough protein. And I will keep telling people this until, I don't care. This is the most transformative thing I've done. Very important. And it doesn't matter if you get all this protein in 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day, or 3 meals a day. The science behind this that is not founded by whey protein supplements is very clear that it's total protein intake throughout the day. Your body has a rate limiting process that slowly drips protein throughout the next day, provided you just get enough. And I have videos where I talk about intervention trials showing when humans eating 80 grams a day of protein on average, double that, they lose body fat, they gain lean mass, they improve their moods, their sleep, their performance, and they will gain 3 kilos of lean mass without even weight training. They're sedentary adults. That tells me most people are not eating enough for basic human functions. So keep that in mind. And no, protein does not turn to sugar. Gluconeogenesis is a man-driven process. You won't get kicked out of ketosis for eating too much protein. The body uses free fatty acids and fat from your diet or adipose tissue primarily to create glucose in a ketogenic state if you're eating keto diet. But if you don't eat enough protein, your body will break down your muscle tissue. So keep that in mind. And grass-finished beef or organic beef is a secondary concern. If you're not eating enough protein overall, but you're prioritizing grass-finished beef and organic, you are absolutely missing the mark. You ain't going to get a damn benefit from eating grass-finished organic animal foods if you're under-eating the amount of animal foods in general, okay? And I have videos where I explain all the science of grass-finished versus grain-finished beef and organic versus conventional and all that stuff. I will tell you, as someone who used to spend hundreds of dollars a month on organic everything, especially grass-finished beef and whatnot, that I felt like shit because I wasn't eating enough. And when I just ate enough, even from lean conventional chicken, I felt tremendously better. Also, I have an interview with someone who put his leukemia, stage 4 cancer, into remission, eating nothing but conventional ground chicken and eggs, okay? So people who think they're going to get cancer if they eat conventional shit, You are a fool. You're a fool. I can't eat enough protein. Because I can't afford it. But I end up buying like the highest quality shit that I can't afford, and that's why I don't eat enough. Bitch, just eat enough first. Seriously. This again irritates me. It's like, what the fuck, man? At least try it. People are so scared of giving their body what it needs, and it pisses me off. That's why I often just go on rants and then I never make videos, right? But I should make these videos especially because of that. Okay, I had way more stuff I want to talk about, but my chicken is clearly burning. I could smell it. I'm about to eat 3.5 pounds of chicken quarters actually here in a bit. The skin, while maybe high in polyunsaturated fats, yes, contributes to the collagen and connective tissue synthesis, and also the glycine found in collagen and the skin of the food and this and that. Improves your mood, NMDA receptors, and balancing out GABA and neurotransmitters, and helps you sleep. So just keep that in mind. Not that it matters, or it does matter, but whatever. So anyway, I'm gonna make another part to this video. We're gonna be talking a lot more about high protein diets and why it's important. We're gonna be talking a lot more about fulfillment in life, the process of mastery, careers, hobbies, and passions have some form of hierarchy of process, and also value systems, and basically why, so in regards to self-improvement, in regards to relationships, dating, friendships, in regards to all this philosophy and stuff that people focus on, what's actually important, what's actually going to get you where you want to go. There have been so many dudes who have tried talking to me, asking me about alpha male shit and fucking high value man shit and what do I think of the red pill shit, right? And all this shit, absolute shit that I spent maybe a couple months back in the day. I read the books, I listened to the gurus, and determined that some of it is helpful and true, but a lot of it's quackery, as in a lot of it is bullshit. It's going to fuck you up in life if you blindly follow it. People are just like, I need a guru to listen to. All right, whatever Liver King says, whatever Andrew Tate says is the gospel, and don't question it. And then they're like kind of getting success, but then failure, and it's not a sustainable thing. And usually just fall off completely because it's just, they should think about it more, right? Anyway, so we'll talk about that in the future. And I made videos about red pill philosophy and shit. And I got a bunch of people trying to attack me in the comments. I'm like, bitch, if you're out there leaving essays about why you don't like someone's thoughts and opinions on the internet, you are obviously not functioning from a relatively effective framework in how to approach life. Because I don't have fucking time to watch videos of people that I don't respect their opinions on or whatever. If I think you're full of shit, I don't have time to watch your fucking video. And if I don't have time to watch your video, I don't have time to leave an essay comment explaining why I think you're full of shit. My main thing is if it's working for me, and I mean working, and I'm consistently getting results, right? And I'm not lying to myself like I was when I was vegan, or like most vegans do, because that's an example of, oh, it's working for me. I reversed my cancer and my autoimmune disease, but yet they're turning into a skeleton. Body is literally eating itself alive. Even though you've reversed some diseases, it's clearly not working for you in all aspects of health. That's the key that we have to understand. Just because I'm getting more friends, I'm getting more money, and maybe I have a decent relationship, it doesn't mean that red pill's necessarily true just because I use it to get these things. There's other things in life that red pill could be fucking up. So anyway, point is, we'll be talking about that in another video. We'll be talking about what actually matters. Basically, determining your values and what are values, basically what actually is important to you in your life. What type of energy do you like to be around with your friends? What type of people do you like to be around? What type of level of consciousness or type of thought patterns and things do you like to surround yourself with? And then in regards to your career, like what is it that you like want with your career, right? And then why, right? Like for me, it's very important that I'm helping other people with my wisdom. I've acquired all this knowledge and information, and I want to share that wisdom. I don't want my knowledge to go to waste. So I value using my knowledge and wisdom and my experience in all these fields that I talk about on my YouTube channel to help other people get better and at the same time get paid for it. Because what the fuck is the point of like having a job where I'm sitting around just like doing robotic functions all day, you know, and getting paid like for that, you know what I'm saying? And then just my mind goes to mush, my gifts go to waste. So that's just an example of a value system. A lot of people, they just focus on what they don't like in their life, and because they haven't identified, well, what is it you want, they can't do anything about it. They're like, well, I just don't like dating stupid girls. I don't like stupid people, or like I don't want to work a 9-to-5 job. I hate working 9-to-5 job and all this other shit, right? But it's like, okay, well, okay, we don't, you know, what type of job do you want to work, you know, or what would be, you know what I'm saying? But people just think about the negative things and don't move on to be able to create those circumstances that will make them fulfilled in life, if that makes sense. And we'll talk about having a process of mastery, which is basically hobbies and or careers that have a hierarchy of progress, right? A lot of people make the mistake of just having a hobby like a scrapbook or something, or video blogging, and they don't really do anything with it because it's not something that they can kind of hit benchmarks and hit checkpoints with, and there's no progress and there's no direction, and therefore it's not something that they can naturally want to invest a lot in, right? So anyway, we'll also talk about friends and girlfriends and relationships and careers and how they're related to processes of mastery and value systems, right? How when you understand what's important to you in your life, what actually means, you know, should have meaning, should matter, what actually matters, when you understand value systems, what the real values, right? How everything else in your life becomes a lot more clear, okay? That's very important. Because 9 times out of 10, people are wasting their fucking mental energy on politics and other people's opinions that they disagree with, and, you know, constantly like posting memes and ranting about their perceived mental illness. That's another video I want to get into as someone who was hospitalized for mental illness as a child and then eventually pretty much completely resolved beyond it. I want to make a video talking about how, to a large degree, our assumption that we're mentally ill to the point of not being able to control it is actually what keeps you stuck in that cycle. And I will say that I do feel mentally ill oftentimes only when I start to think about other humans and my own kind of assumptions about their level of consciousness, right? When I start to think about like, a large amount of humanity is ignorant or stupid, you know, and it starts boggling my mind, that is when I start to drive myself crazy. But I do have 149 IQ, and I was cleared by a psychologist when I turned 21, claiming that I definitely am not mentally ill, but however, I am so intelligent that all of these things actually kind of make sense. Even though I don't like to claim I'm intelligent, because I feel like all stupid people assume that they're more intelligent than they are, and therefore it's kind of pointless to claim you're intelligent or that other people are stupider than you, but objectively I may be. And yeah, where was I going with that? And pretty much what I realize these days is everyone is mentally ill to a certain degree, but for some people, their mental agony and anguish interferes with their ability to effectively have a career and a relationship and shit. And for me, I have found that I'm actually more effective in all areas of my life, than the vast majority of humans, despite the mental anguish that can happen sometimes. And therefore, I find it hard to identify as mentally ill in that regard. I find most people, and this is what bothers me, is that most humans, they're, diabetic, obese, and they don't do anything about it. And in fact, they constantly make excuses and try to reinforce their problems. They're like, oh, I'm a victim. And anyway, that shit actually drives me mentally ill. But the only reason why I was able to rise above it is because I was like, you know what? I'm pretty sure there's certain nutritional strategies and psychology strategies and things that can change that would get me out of the mentally ill rut, But most people, they just take what the doctors tell them. Doctors are like, oh, it's a freaking chemical imbalance that we can't measure with objective neurotransmitter tests. Take this mind-altering drug that will literally change the way your brain works for the rest of your life, and then have side effects that are even worse than the freaking original illness that you started with. And yeah, you're doomed for life, basically, but this medication is your savior. And then these people are like, oh, yes, doctor, you are correct. I am helpless without big, pharma. And yeah, coming from someone who is on over 1,200 milligrams of Seroquel for 10 years, that shit fucked me up way more than any natural issues I had at a baseline. However, again, I have 149 IQ, so I was able to be intelligent enough to come out of it, and I've talked about that at great length in other videos. My chicken's almost burning. God damn it. All right, and I'll just post this video. Let me know any of the things I mentioned in this video that I didn't go deep enough. Let me know what you want to hear more of. Leave a comment. Let me know what you want to hear more of. If you don't comment, then who knows? Maybe I won't make another video for a while. So yeah. All right, talk to y'all next time.